Draft day hit, and Miami didn't flinch. With a need that was impossible to ignore, the soft, exposed middle of a defense that had been getting pushed around, the Dolphins reached straight into the Michigan heartland and yanked out Kenneth Grant. Not a quiet pick, not a safe pick. A pick with weight. A guy who's not just about numbers, though he had them. 32 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 passes defended, but about presence. And if you paid any attention during OTAs and minicamp, you'd see it too. He's not walking in with wide eyes. He's stepping in like he's done this before, like the playbook already lives in his hands. That doesn't just happen. That's earned. Mike McDaniel wasn't subtle at the combine when he laid it all out. You don't get to sit rookies and let them grow in peace. This isn't baseball. You don't stash talent in a development league and wait. The NFL doesn't care about your potential unless you're delivering. When McDaniel talks about live bullets, he's not being dramatic. He's being honest. These rookies are thrown into the fire and told to make the flame dance. And that's why upside matters. It's not just about where a guy is. It's about where he can go. Because if a guy walks in already topped out, you're not getting better. You're just surviving. The Dolphins didn't want a survivor. They wanted a difference. Grant came to Miami not just as an athlete, but with a mentality that's rare for a rookie. It's not the sacks or the stats that stood out to McDaniel. It was how the locker room shifted when Grant entered. How veterans, the ones who've seen dozens of young guys walk in and burn out, actually started to lean toward him. That respect isn't handed out. It's watched. It's noticed. It's in the reps, the hustle, the way he locks into technique and doesn't need reminding. When McDaniel said, "You're hitting a home run with the team when a first-round pick comes in with that mindset," that wasn't just coach speak. That was a flag being planted. They believe this guy is wired the right way. Of course, nobody's pretending he's perfect. There have been moments where the rookie in him shows. He's still figuring out how to win consistently when the technique doesn't land, when the leverage isn't there, when the play breaks down. But what caught McDaniel's eye, and what should grab every Dolphins fan's attention, is that Grant doesn't fade. He adjusts. He strains. On some reps, he beats you with clean footwork. On others, he just outlasts you, grinds through you, and makes something ugly into something effective. That's not common. That's foundation. Last year, the Dolphins' interior line wasn't a weakness. It was a gap in identity. Teams ran at them with too much confidence. The pressure up the middle was inconsistent, often non-existent. When the pocket didn't collapse, quarterbacks had time, receivers had windows, and Miami's secondary paid the price. With Grant, that story could shift. He's not a quick fix, but he's the kind of piece that makes everything else align. The kind of piece that forces offenses to think twice. And if you give your edge rushers a pocket that's already caving in the middle, you don't just get sacks, you get mistakes. And it's not just about disrupting plays. It's about changing tone. A rookie who demands attention, who makes guards hesitate, who absorbs double teams and still pushes the line back a step. That's someone who affects every snap, even when he's not the one making the tackle. And that's where Grant might matter most. In the subtle shifts. The plays that don't show up on the stat sheet, but change the rhythm of a drive. But let's not rush to build a statue. The NFL adjusts quickly. Grant's going to face linemen who've been setting blocks since before he hit college. He's going to see schemes designed to expose his weaknesses, stretch his stamina, test his instincts. He'll be moved, doubled, targeted. The question isn't just how he hits, it's how he recovers. Can he reset mid-game? Can he finish a long drive with the same explosiveness he starts with? That's what separates flashes from fixtures. And the role he's stepping into isn't small. The Dolphins didn't take him to be a rotational guy. They took him because they believe he can become central. Because they know that when your defensive tackles are forces, your whole defense breathes easier. Linebackers shoot gaps without hesitation. Edge rushers get one-on-ones. Safeties creep down. Everything tightens. Everything connects. But it starts with trust in the middle. And that's where Grant can carve his legacy. He's got examples around him. Veterans like Zach Sealer, experienced grinders who know how to survive the weekly brutality of the NFL trenches. If Grant's watching, absorbing, pushing himself, those lessons can speed up the timeline. But he'll need more than examples. He'll need to make his own mark. And so far, Early camp talk says he's not waiting for permission. He's taking reps like he's been here before. There's confidence without arrogance, hunger without desperation,